going to show you how to get a dice which will help you win basically any game of dice that you're playing. It's a bit cheesy and maybe a bit cheating, but it's pretty cool if you want to end up winning every game, and this can be useful at various different points in the game. So this is the Saint Antiochus die, which when you roll it will roll at a 3, and if you have multiples of them, as you can see, you can basically roll 3 every time, which means that you can keep rolling 3, keep selecting them all, then score and continue, and then just keep going and going and going. So where I'm meant to get 1,500 in here, I've got 7,200, and then you can just win, and you can win that hand really easily. Now, this is very cheesy, and it might ruin your game in terms of using the dice, but you don't have to use it, you could just sell it. In order to do this, you're looking for the hired hand in Troskowitz, which is that bar that you know very well. And when you go here, you'll find there are 2 dice players that you can play with, but you want the guy in the cream shirt. Now, you can pickpocket him, but obviously you've got to do that when there are a bunch of other people around, so it's not ideal. You're better off waiting till night time. So what you want to do is basically wait until the dead of night. Now, I find that 2 AM is preferable. Now, don't forget, if you pay for it, you can actually have a bed here where you can sleep in the hay behind this little cart, so you can sleep there. You're going to want to make sure you've got some saviour schnapps on you and a bunch of food for this as well, and also some gear that you can sneak around in, so don't use your clanking armour. Now, sleep till 2 AM or wait until 2 AM, but I found sleeping is beneficial, and I'll show you why in a second. And then what we're going to do is sneak into the main building. Now, you will need some lockpicks because you've got to get through some very easy lockpicking doors here. Also, if you've got Mutt with you, I'd recommend setting him to stay so he doesn't follow you into the building and start barking around, because that would not be ideal. Then you need to get through these doors, either by lockpicking them or stealing the keys off one of the people in the building, and then you can make your way in and basically get in here. Go upstairs into this back room, and then you should find the hired hand is asleep in here. Then you're going to pickpocket him and basically loot him while he's asleep. And what we're doing is looking for the gold dice, which is the Saint Antiochus dice. Now, you can take other things from him as well, but if your pickpocketing skills aren't that great, just focus on the dice and nothing else. And then you're going to leave the building. Now, with that dice, you basically can win with the 3, obviously, that I've shown you earlier on, but you need to get it multiple times. The good thing about this is it respawns. So if you stay in this location and wait a couple of days, you can basically steal from him again. So there are various different ways to do this, and I've found different results from doing it. Obviously, you can just basically skip through time anyway by pressing T on PC and just going through the time clock and just waiting through the hours. Sitting down or obviously resting is beneficial, but you do need to make sure you've got food that you can do it with, because you will get hungry after a while, and skipping through time obviously means you're not sleeping as well, so you're not going to be as well rested. So these are things to think about while you're doing it. The other thing is I've found this can present a problem. You also want to make sure you've got a torch, because if you're moving around at night without a torch, the guards might get suspicious. So using the bed regularly and sleeping during the night until we're just pushing the time on. You just want a couple of days of basically going through time until the dice is respawned, because then you'll be able to steal it again quite easily. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But however, what I found is if you loiter around too much in one spot, the guards will get suspicious, the barmaid got suspicious, and then they came after me. So even though I'm sleeping in a bed which belongs to me, for some reason the guards are now annoyed that I'm in that location. I've been caught thieving, even though I wasn't stealing anything else, and they shouldn't really know about it. So just take care with that. Now I'm basically repeating the process of picking his pockets. I'd recommend saviour schnapps on a regular basis before doing this, just in case you get caught, because it'd be annoying if it got ruined. And then you go through and then you get that dice again. So just keep repeating that process of stealing the dice. You'll need it 6 times in order to maximize your abilities to win the game. So you obviously have to repeat this quite a few times, which means sticking around in this location for a while. So what I'd recommend doing is making the most of this in other ways, rather than just waiting for time to go past. You can actually build up your skills. So feeding Mutt and praising him on a regular basis, for example, will increase your relationship with him and your skills on there, making sure you're eating. I also had the idea that you could just buy loads of booze from the barmaid and drink it, because one of the benefits of this is it increases your drinking skills, and if you've got drinking skills perks, they can actually be beneficial in other ways, because you can use those skills to improve your abilities. So what you'll find is once you start drinking those, is actually pushing your abilities up. Now you have to be careful not to overdrink, because you can end up becoming an alcoholic. But what you'll see is I've got perk points for drinking there. And then you can use those, and that will then improve other things. So if you go into the skills section, you'll see under the drinking section that you can choose for various things in here. The more drunk you are, the higher chance you have of not losing your badge. And then you've got cheers, which is a handy one because that will actually heal you when you drink beer or wine, so if you're injured. Also, praising Mutt regularly and feeding him will help build that relationship. So just finding things to do while you're here and while you're wasting time. Wait until it's getting to night time and then sleep until 2 AM and repeat the process of just going back into the building and stealing. Now obviously you could steal other things from this location as well, but I'm just sticking to the dice because it's faster and easier to do if you're not risking getting caught doing other things. And so you just grab the dice and then move on with your life. You have to repeat this a few times, so it's a little bit of a hassle. But when it's done, you should find that you've got multiples of these. Now, I've only got 4 at this point, but obviously they were marked stolen at one point, which shows you that after waiting a couple of days, they end up not being stolen anymore. So they're not marked as stolen in your inventory, which is quite fun. So basically repeating this process, eventually the first couple or few that you stole won't be seen as stolen anymore, so it won't be much of an issue. Then once you've done that and you've collected all the dice, you can then use them to go and play dice with people, either with or without a badge, depending on whether you've got a badge or not. And by the way, as you'll see, you can also win badges with this. Now you've got a selection of dice. Obviously, I've got loads here, but I'm going to stick to the Saint Antiochus die here because it's basically designed to always roll a 3, which means that you can then combine it to basically win every game. There could be other dice you want to use, and obviously doing this essentially means you're winning every time, so it's not much of a challenge, which is why it might be a bit cheesy. So you might not want to do it every time, or maybe just throw in some other dice randomly to make it so you're not permanently winning, but it does make it easier, and it's a good way to win money. So if you want to make extra money, you can basically go to each of the dice players in the game and then just destroy them and take all their money, and then keep repeating this process, because over time obviously their money will respawn, their dice will respawn, and their badges probably as well. So you can basically just go around robbing them blind, taking their badges. So you can see I received the badge for winning that game, as well as getting the groschen. You're only getting a little bit of groschen each time. The other thing about playing dice is that it actually improves your agility as well, though, so you increase your agility skills too, and you can eventually go on and win like the gold badges as well. Good stuff.